Alright, it's match reaction time for the Arsenal Bournemouth game. 3-0 to Arsenal. And it was a bit of a weird game because Arsenal definitely deserved the win. I don't think there's any real question that Bournemouth were well beaten today, but ultimately I think 3-0 is a bit harsh for Bournemouth. We definitely deserved our goals, but if you look at the overall performance, I don't necessarily think Bournemouth deserved to concede three. It was a bit of a weird game, and the last two match reactions, I've been kind of bantering Chelsea, Tottenham, the banter clubs in London, but today we do have to show some respect to Bournemouth because they put in a very, very good performance. They put in, defensively in that first half, they were absolutely sensational. Last ditch blocks, sitting in a low block, being compact, being difficult to break down. It was an unbelievable performance. Even their keeper, I know he gave away the penalty, but still, what a performance from their keeper. I've never even heard of the guy before, and he made a couple really good saves. I think a lot of them you'd expect a keeper to make, but they were still good shots. There's still saves that had to be made, and he did it. He kept them in the game for a very, very long time, and ultimately, I just think that you got to give Bournemouth a ton of credit for what they did. In the second half, they attacked well. They didn't really create too much apart from the disallowed goal, which we are going to talk about. But yeah, you just have to give Bournemouth a tremendous amount of credit and respect for what they did today. We've seen that they've been able to give big teams a real test. They thrashed United at Old Trafford. I think they only lost 1-0 to Man City. So we've seen them be able to really run the big teams close this season, and yeah, we just got to give them credit. But overall, for Arsenal, it was a necessary win. I think if you fail to win this game, and there's no way back, and that's going to be the case for the next two games. You have to win because you just have to assume that City are going to do what City do and win their games. So you have to keep the pressure on them. And ultimately, that's what we did. We did very well. We're going to talk about the VAR controversies because there were a ton of them in this game. And I think, so we'll start with the red card. For me, it's 100% a red card for Christie, I think it was, who went in with a knee-high tackle, studs up, on Saka. I don't know how on earth that doesn't get given, especially after VAR went and had a look at it. We've seen Nicholas Jackson should have been sent off. And really, there's just an inconsistent standard of refereeing when it comes to red cards. We've seen such soft red cards be given this season for, accidental contact that's, not too much, not super high. We've seen red cards been given. McAllister earlier in the season was sent off against Bournemouth for, it wasn't even a bad tackle. It was just a normal tackle. He got sent off for it. Obviously, I think it was Curtis Jones for Liverpool as well against Tottenham. That one you can kind of make an argument because he was high, his studs were out. Still very soft in my opinion. But so for that not to be given is an absolute disgrace. And I think Bournemouth can count themselves lucky that they finished the game with 11 men on the pitch. Next up, the penalty. In my opinion, it's not a penalty. But again, we got to give credit to the ref for that decision because, we've seen way softer penalties given this season. So I actually do think that the ref did the right thing giving that penalty because you have to have a consistent standard of officiating. Like I said, it's inconsistent standard for the red card. But we've seen a bit of consistency now for the penalty. I just happen to think that tackles like that are way too soft to give penalties for. So I just think the standard is poor, but credit to the ref for playing up to that standard. The disallowed goal, again, for me, I think that it should have been a goal. I think it was Solanke. I don't think Solanke does enough. He definitely puts Raya off. He definitely, impedes him from clearing the ball properly. But at the same time, I just think it's so soft. I mean, I know that there's a lot of rules to protect goalkeepers, but it's still a contact sport. You're allowed to touch the keeper. Just because you bump the keeper a little bit doesn't mean it's a foul. So, again, credit to the ref for keeping the standard of, these kind of impeding the goalkeeper results in a foul. I just don't think it was a foul. And then, obviously, the VAR, or not even the VAR, the ref disallowing Gabriel's goal. I mean, it is what it is. It's offside. Yeah, it took away an absolutely fantastic finish, but, I mean, you can't really complain about offsides. It's an objective call whether he's onside or offside, so no real complaints there. Quick word on some individual performances. Declan Rice, I see people saying £100 million bargain. I don't necessarily think it was a bargain because I don't really know how much more we would have paid for Rice. But you can easily say it's money well spent. And I think the fact that he isn't player of the season is an absolute joke. There's definitely kind of a bias in that sort of thing towards more attacking players versus Declan Rice, who's played the majority of the season as a defensive midfielder. But for me, Declan Rice is easily player of the season. The way that he's added goals and assists to his game from defensive midfield is absolutely unreal. That finish today, you'd think that was a striker putting that ball away. But, yeah, Declan Rice, unbelievable. Trossardinho, as some have dubbed him, absolutely incredible. Most underrated player in the Premier League. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The guy's absolute quality. So, you know what? Big win. Now, I'm going to become a Wolves fan for the next 2 hours or so. And let's pray City drop points.